A couple of things.
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 Hello and welcome to episode 12 of A Couple of Things. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about job titles, UX designer, product designer, UX engineer, all of these things. What does it mean? Who is a UX designer anyway? Hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for listening. In the design field, job titles are always a hot topic. There's a never-ending cycle of this role is dead, another one is rising up to take its place, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Some people think that you have to know how to code. Some people think that you have to have visual chops. Some people think that you don't need to be great at research to be a UX designer. For a long time, people argued with me and insisted that I wasn't a designer and I didn't belong at design meetups because I didn't have an Instagram page with all the beautiful interfaces that I had designed. The way I look at it, there are a number of skills that make up a UX designer's toolkit. There's strategy, there's research, content design and strategy, interaction design, information architecture, visual design, maybe even front-end development, but that one is a touchy area and a topic for another day. Show designer code and all of that. The point is that there's a lot more to UX design or product design or digital experience design or whatever you want to call it than just visual interfaces. And that is not always appreciated. So to call yourself a UX designer, I personally think that you should be skilled at least 3 of the aforementioned areas. Don't ask me how I arrived at 3. It's just my opinion. My thinking is that if you can do only one thing, then that's the thing that you do. So for example, if you are only great at interaction design, then you are an interaction designer. If you're only great at research, then you are a UX researcher. If you're only great at visual design or interface design, then you are a visual / or interface designer. And if you do 2, that's okay, but also like small. So a minimum of 3 is the sweet spot. And that's just like my own perspective on that. So for example, I call myself an experienced and service designer because although I started out my career doing only UX research, I have kind of evolved and I now do a lot more than that. I do content strategy, I do interaction design, I do information architecture, I do general product strategy in addition to research. And so that's like 5 out of 6. The only thing I literally don't do is visual design and front-end development. And so I think that I should be called an experienced designer. And I call myself that anyway. And if like you're not happy about it, well, sorry. So what does this mean for you who are a designer and you're job searching? Well, we tend to focus on job titles when we're searching for jobs. Is it a product designer role? Is it this? Is it that? However, there's a lot more than that. People often use whatever titles they feel best captures what they're looking for. Product designer, UX designer, UI developer, UX engineer, UI UX designer, interaction designer, and on and on and on. What you need to pay attention to is the description. What skills are they looking for? What do they say they want? I've seen UX designer titles that don't require interface design chops. Also, sometimes people will include certain requirements in the job description, but when you actually speak to them, that's not what they need or are looking for. So my number 1 tip for you is to apply anyways and always look for someone within the organization, preferably whoever is hiring for the role or whoever the role will be working with, that you can talk to about the role and learn more about exactly what they're looking for that position. Don't rely solely on what the job description says, especially if it's the first time that they're hiring a UXer or it's a small team or it's a new team or a growing team. As any good UXer knows, what people say on the surface is not always what they truly want or need. And it is up to us as UXers to dig deeper to uncover the true motivations by asking good questions. Remember, your user is not just the end customer that the business is serving. The business or the organization that has hired you is also a user and is of your services. What is the most ridiculous UX job title you have seen or heard? Let me know, and when you share this on Twitter, Instagram, or wherever you share it. And remember, you can always send me a question to answer on the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this episode of A Couple of Things. If you enjoyed it or you learned something new, please share. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. If you're listening or you can rate and review, please leave a review. Bye.